Ladies and gentlemen, it is just so hard to believe that we have yet another story coming out of Texas, more specifically, Houston, Texas. And Houston on my channel has been the topic of many stories. And it's just so hard to believe that a place that I visited a couple of, I'd say maybe about 5 or 6 times I've been down there in Houston. It's an interesting place. It's a big place. But damn, what is going on with the children in Houston, Texas? Why is there so much violence happening to the children? I don't really understand violence and people shooting and stabbing and killing each other anyway. But when you have children who are defenseless, those who can't speak for themselves, those who cannot defend themselves, you're talking about babies who need us for each and everything that they get from us, are usually the subject of a lot of these stories. So this story comes out of Houston, and police in Houston are actually hunting for a gunman, and I think they actually have arrested him. So let me see if I can pull up a little bit more of a current story. But they say that this man executed a couple, this couple and their 6-year-old daughter, threw a baby by the hair and wounded a 10-year-old child who survived by playing dead. By playing dead, and was able to call her grandmother on FaceTime to call and ask for help. I'm telling you guys, these stories are heartbreaking, but I want to pause right there because I want everybody to remember, as much as this might break your heart, and maybe some of us don't have thick skin to listen to these stories, there is nothing more hurtful and more painful than what these children actually have to live through. So all I ask is that you listen with an open mind and an open heart to these babies' story, okay? This triple homicide unfolded at 10:30 p.m. on Wednesday at an apartment complex in the 12,100 block of Fondren Road. Houston Assistant Police Chief Patricia Cantu said during a press conference overnight. When authorities arrived at the scene, they found a father, a 29-year-old pregnant mother, and a 6-year-old girl who were fatally shot. Let me see if I can get their picture up here real quick. Let me see, because there was a lot of pictures. I'm going to see if I can show them specifically. You have the young lady right there. The mother's name on the left is, I cannot pronounce her name, Donyavia. And I'm sorry to the family. I mean, no disrespect, but that is such a unique name. Donyavia Lagway. That's her name. The husband's name is Gregory Carhee, C-A-R-H-E-E. The baby's name on the right-hand side, her name is Harmony. Now, they're saying that they're married. Now, why didn't she take on his last name? Maybe she did. I'm not sure why they didn't just refer to her as Donyavia Carhee, but look, whatever. Let's move on. Officials have not named, well, yes, they did. They did name the victims. But the relatives and friends identified them on social media as the names I just gave you, who had only recently celebrated that baby girl's 6th birthday. The couple's eldest daughter, by the name of Lyric, who was 10 years old, was the one who survived. And I'm assuming that the 10-year-old girl was the one who called her grandmother, which is the baby girl over there on the right, the taller one, I'm assuming. Asking that you all keep my family lifted in prayer, a relative wrote in a Facebook post. For the coward that felt the need to shoot the kids after killing both the mom and dad, count your effing days. Now, y'all know I like a little bit of decorum when people are addressing the news, especially when it comes to using that type of verbiage. But this, I totally understand. And I think the news station did too. The Slane's couple, 10-year-old daughter, was shot in the arm, and she was taken to the hospital in stable condition. Her 1-year-old brother, let me see if I can show y'all that picture. These are such small kids. Give me a moment. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. right there. Her 1-year-old brother, who was in the apartment, was unharmed, and her older brother, age 8, who I'm assuming that's the baby down here on the bottom left, was away with his uncle at the time of this attack. So he was lucky. What did they say? How did they say that? Wrong place, wrong time. He was at the right place at the right time. So that boy right there was very, very lucky, and especially the 1-year-old baby. Police, well, let's move on because they do have a suspect. The family also said, I just want everybody to know my baby, she's a hero. And they're talking about the 10-year-old who was able to call for help. A 10-year-old Houston girl played dead after being shot by a masked gunman who killed her parents and little sister. Houston police are investigating the fatal shootings of the girl's father, Gregory Carhey, who was 35 years old, and her mother, Danyavia Lagway, 29 years old, and her 6-year-old sister, Harmony Carhey, according to the news. The assailant appears to have known the victims, so he knew this family. I don't know if this was like he's a cousin or a relative. I'm not sure. If anybody in the chat knows, feel free to let me know. Because at this point, we don't have any idea. The girl told investigators that the killer knocked on the door of the family's home on Wednesday and was let in by her father. The man then lined up the family members on the couch and shot them. The 10-year-old was shot in the arm and played dead. Once the killer left, she called her grandmother for help on FaceTime. Let's take a pause right there. Let's pause it right there. But let's talk about this. Not only are her family members, this baby's family members, being shot while she's watching, the fool that you see on my screen right here, we're going to talk about this thug, and I want y'all to remember that thug doesn't refer to his skin color. Thug refers to his actions, not his skin color. He is a thug. He has a tattoo in the middle of his face. Let me say this for those who might be a little bit upset about what I say. You should never let someone in your home if they have a tattoo in the middle of their face. Let me say that again. You should never let anyone inside your home if they have a tattoo in the middle of their face. Does anybody disagree with that? You should definitely be very, very careful when people have tattoos all across their neck, all across their cheeks. Like he looked like he got some tattoo tears right there. Let me see if I can actually, let me go back. See if I can pause there. Let me show y'all something. Matter of fact, let me see if I have a darker, a little bit of a better contrasting picture. This one's a little bit more clear, but let me see if I can find a better one. If I can't find it, I'll pull up the bigger picture. Let me see. Was it this one? Nope. Right here. Let's pause it right damn there. Because what I was able to do was I brought the highlights down a little bit so you could see this just a little bit better. Let me break out my trusty whiteboard real quick if y'all don't mind. See if I can get this up here. And I know my picture just moved. Hold on. Let's go back. If I can. I don't know if I can. Crap, I might have messed it up. Hold on. Let me just bring it in from here. We're doing this live. Y'all bear with me. Let's do it like this. Let's put this picture up on the big screen. Let's take a look at something if you don't mind. I want y'all to look at this big, nasty tattoo that this man is so dark, you can't even see what that tattoo is. He has a tattoo right over here. He has a tattoo over here. He has a huge tattoo under his neck. right there. He has tattoos all around his chest, down here, down there. There are still people that come to my comment section, and let me put some devil horns on him. Can I do that if y'all don't mind? I'm gonna put some devil horns on him. How about that? He's a demon. We're gonna put some devil horns on this demon. How about that? People come to my comment section and argue with me and tell me, Just Jay, just because people have face tattoos don't mean that they're a bad person. And you know what? I would agree with you. I would totally agree with you. But here's the problem. There are too many people that if they have face tattoos in the center of their face, tattoo tears, tattoos around their neck, when they have that many tattoos around their face, they generally aren't law-abiding citizens or good people. Generally speaking. I'm just giving you some warning signs. I'm just saying, if you see there's smoke, there just might be a freaking fire. Does everybody understand? When you see these demonic tattoos on a person's face, then maybe this is not somebody you should let inside your house. Because I don't know why the father would have felt so comfortable to let him in the house to begin with. Why he decided to line them up and shoot them is a whole nother thing. Did this have something to do with over money? Did this have something to do with drugs? Did this have something to do, if they're related? He said he knew the family. Was one of those kids his children? Was he previously in a relationship with this woman? There is something more to this, and somebody knows the answers. But let's move on. Actually, let's not move on. They said this 10-year-old girl was shot in the arm and she played dead. First of all, that had to be very traumatic to watch that happen. That little girl had to have been probably frightened to death. Then you get shot in the arm and you're able to be quiet enough that he thought you were dead. Think about that for a moment. This baby girl was shot with a gun and did not holler and scream. She calmed herself and was able to play like she was dead. And the dude actually thought she was dead. She was able to hold herself together long enough for him to leave. And then she went and got help. You're talking about, that is just a soul straight from God himself. I don't know any adults that could have done that. Let's move on. She said, Granny, someone came in and shot me. My mama and my daddy and my sister, they're dead. She was in the house about 15 minutes with the body until we got there, according to Angela Irvin, a family member. Now, this baby said, someone came in and shot me, mama, my dad, and my sister. Think about what that means. That means this little girl didn't know this man's name. The news is trying to say that this man was familiar with this family. But the question is how and why? How and why? How did he know the family? Why did he do this? To the point where the 10-year-old girl didn't even know his name. She said, someone. Let me see if I can pull up his name here real quick. I do have his name. Hold on. 28-year-old Xavier Davis. She didn't call him Xavier. She didn't call Xavier Dominique Davis. Thank you very much, Ginger. She didn't call him by his name. She didn't call him by his nickname. She didn't identify him by a name. She said someone. When a baby says someone, that means she doesn't know who he is. She might know his face, but she don't know who he is. So I want to point that out. She waited until he left and pretended that she was dead, according to a family member. And then when he left, she locked the door, grabbed her little brother, and called her grandmother. Wow. The couple, who had been together for a decade, had a 1-year-old son who was also at home at the time, but was not injured. According to reports, an 8-year-old boy in the family was not at home when the shooting happened. They said, I just want everybody to know my baby, she's a hero. My baby is a hero. The girl's grandmother, Amanda Lagway, said, I still can't believe it. The shooting, we received it from the shooting call. We received it from the grandmother, who was not here at the apartment, according to Patricia Cantu, an assistant chief at the Houston Police Department, said in a video statement posted online. She said, there's a very, very tragic scene. We're sending out prayers to the family. This was not only difficult for us, but for the family as well. Now, police reportedly know who the shooter is. Again, that is 28-year-old. Let me see if I can get his face back up on the screen, because there's a lot more to actually tell about him. 28-year-old Xavier Dominique Davis. They were offering a reward for him, but they already found him. Now, the 10-year-old girl who was shot in the arm is still in the hospital recovering. So let's go ahead and move on with our news videos. And yes, actually, he does have a long rap sheet. He is a criminal that has a long rap sheet, but we'll get to that. Let's go ahead and give you guys the fair usage, and I'll let you hear it from the news station. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. So while I'm playing these news videos, I want you guys to be thinking about why would they let him in the house? Why would he have shot them to death? Why? Let's get it.
Right now at noon, a lot of questions still unanswered after members of a family were shot and killed. Among them, a dad, a mother, and their 6-year-old child. The couple's 10-year-old daughter was also wounded in the shooting, but her quick thinking might have saved her life. That shooting happened just after 10:30 last night on Fondren Road and Ludington Drive in southwest Houston. KPRC2's Kathy Hernandez spoke to a relative of the family who detailed what happened before the shooting.
Good afternoon. It's beyond heartbreaking. This is a closer look of the apartment where those 3 family members were killed. Relatives gave us this picture of the family. The victims are the father, Gregory Carkey. The mother is Donyavia Lagway, and their 6-year-old daughter, Harmony, seen here in the middle of her 2 parents.
Now, I want y'all to remember, no, he did not break in the house. He knocked on the door, and the dad, the guy in the top left corner right there, he let him in. He let him inside the house.
Lyric is their 10-year-old daughter on the bottom left, who was also shot but survived and managed to call for help after the shooting. A horrific tragedy. A mother, father, and their 6-year-old daughter shot to death. The only survivor was a 10-year-old girl. She was also shot but played dead until the gunman left.
It's devastating. My little niece, but she's brave. She's very brave.
Relatives say a man knocked on the door of the family's apartment on Fondren in Ludington at about 10:30 last night. They say the father answered the door, carrying their 1-year-old baby boy.
My niece told him he had the wrong apartment. And he grabbed the baby out the dad's arm, sit him on the sofa, and that's when he started shooting.
The man killed the father, mother, and their 6-year-old daughter. He shot their 10-year-old daughter in the arm.
I don't even think I could have did what she did. I mean, she didn't panic. She played dead. wait till the guy left, locked the door, got her baby, and called her grandmother.
She FaceTimed her grandmother, and she told her grandmother, I've been shot, Mama and Daddy and Harmony.
Her baby brother was not hurt. The family is left with many questions. Who could cause such a tragedy and why? Devastated family members have been here all morning and have been in and out of the apartment where it happened. Investigators say the shooter is still on the run, and they're hoping the surveillance video can help them find out who killed this family.
Well, we know who did it. We know who's been arrested. Let's keep going.
The other tragic shooting happened at 10:30 this morning at an apartment off Willcrest and West Park. Police tell us a woman was shot and killed by the father of her child, and she was holding their 1-year-old son at the time, who also suffered a gunshot wound to his ankle. The suspect in this case was out on seven felony bonds and was supposed to be wearing an ankle monitor. That makes the case even more tragic for the victim's family. They talked to our Janelle Beluda. Janelle?
Houston police say this could have been prevented. That suspect was out on 7 felony bonds. Tonight, the family of Layla Steele says the justice system failed her.
July 1st was the day Layla Steele had been waiting for.
That's not the right story. I'll have to cut that out. That's not the right story. That's not the right story. But I think that ought to prove to y'all there are too many stories happening in Houston. That's not the right story. Let's move on to the correct one. Think about that for a moment. Think about that for a moment. It's that many stories happening in Houston, Texas, of black mothers getting shot with their children. Let's move on. This one's definitely the right video.
We have new details now in a tragic story that we brought you this morning. We have now learned.
Yes, the dad let him in. I already said that. Yes, the dad let him in. So if y'all did not hear that, I'm hoping that the people who are listening right now, make sure y'all click that thumbs up, share the stream. The dad let him in. Yes.
We have new details now in a tragic story that we brought you this morning. We have now learned a mother of 4 who was shot and killed overnight was pregnant. Her 6-year-old was also killed in that violence, along with the children's dad. The gunman still on the loose. Our Michelle Choi has been following this story all morning and has the very latest.
Reka, this story is so heartbreaking. Overnight, even investigators told us this was a difficult scene to process. Now, this morning, I spoke to several people who say they're related to the mom. They tell me the horrific shooting happened on this second-floor apartment. Inside at the time, a mom, dad, and 3 of their kids. Only 2 of them survived, the 10-year-old daughter and her 1-year-old baby brother, who the family says she protected as she called for help.
We wouldn't have had no witness if the 10-year-old didn't live. So that's a sad story. That's very sad.
Early this morning, family members swarmed the apartment desperate for answers. They say despite getting shot in the arm, the 10-year-old managed to call her grandma via FaceTime, who then called police. When officers arrived, they found the little girl's mom, dad, and her 6-year-old sister shot and killed. The 10-year-old was rushed to a hospital and is expected to be okay. Her baby brother wasn't hurt. Tarkisha Wright says she is the mom's cousin.
Whoever came to do this heinous crime meant to do this. He didn't want to leave no witness. He didn't shoot the 1-year-old because he can't talk.
Wright says the little girl told the family this all started when a man wearing a mask knocked on their front door last night. Her dad answered, holding her baby brother, her mom telling him he had the wrong apartment. That's when the family says she witnessed the man grab her baby brother by the hair and throw him on the couch before gunning her and the rest of her family down.
Let me let y'all hear this again. He had a mask on and you let him in? Let me let y'all hear this again. Would you not at least look outside the door? Look through the peephole? Listen at this again. You let somebody inside your house who had a mask on?
Holding her baby brother, her mom telling him he had the wrong apartment. Started when a man wearing a mask knocked on their front door last night.
At night.
Says the little girl told the family this all started when a man wearing a mask knocked on their front door last night. Her dad answered, holding her baby brother, her mom telling him he had the wrong apartment.
They're saying he had the wrong apartment. Maybe I might have gotten wrong information. I thought they said that they might have known him. I don't know.
This all started when a man wearing a mask knocked on their front door last night. Her dad answered, holding her baby brother, her mom telling him he had the wrong apartment. That's when the family says she witnessed the man grab her baby brother by the hair and throw him on the couch before gunning her and the rest of her family down. Scared, she says she played dead until he left. Wright says her cousin and her boyfriend, who had 4 kids together, recently announced they were expecting their 5th child. The couple's 8-year-old son wasn't home when the shooting happened. Heartbroken, the family is now demanding justice.
I hope who done this pay for this, because they did not deserve this.
Right now, police don't have a motive or a description of the shooter. They're asking anyone with information to please give them a call. Reka.
Michelle Choi, thank you so much.
The man accused of executing a young couple and their 6-year-old daughter in Southwest Houston will remain in jail without bond. Xavier Davis appeared in court this morning. He is charged with 3 counts of capital murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He's accused of killing Gregory Carhi, Danyavia Lagway, and their 6-year-old daughter Harmony Carhi. Police say Davis also shot the couple's 10-year-old daughter, who survived. Judge Brian E. Warren ordered Davis held on no bond while all the cases are being transferred to the same court.
I think that based on the severity of the charges and based on the facts
and yes, y'all heard that right. The mother was pregnant, had a 1-year-old and was pregnant. That is a lot of children, man. I mean, it's just something about this doesn't sit right with me. There's something wrong here. Now, was this family completely innocent? Did he have the wrong family? These are still questions we would need answers to. But it's just crazy how we have all of these situations coming out of the city of Houston, bunch of mothers, bunch of kids, bunch of murdering and death. Something about that doesn't add up.
This case, I was anticipating that he would be held at no bond and expected that from Judge Warren. I believe ultimately he made the right decision.
Many cases, capital cases, are without a bond until lawyers get adjusted to the case and find out what the facts are and what's going on with the case and the person's background, things like that.
Court documents allege Davis was trying to rob the family. He was already behind bars for an unrelated family violence charge when police identified him as the suspect in this case. Davis's next court date has...
Did y'all hear that? Let's hear this part again. I need to turn it up just a little bit so y'all can hear this.
For an unrelated family... Court documents allege Davis was trying to rob the family. He was already behind bars for an unrelated family violence charge.
He was already behind bars for an unrelated family violence charge. He was trying to rob a family that has 5, almost 6 kids. Where in the F did he think they were going to get this money from? Let's think for a moment. What kind of car you think they drove? You think they drove a damn Bentley outside? You think they had a Maybach out there parked in those apartments? They don't even live in luxury apartments. They don't even live in a house. Those are very typical Houston apartments. That is not to say anything bad or negative. All I'm saying is, what about this particular family made you think that they was balling and had money like that? You gonna come in and, yeah, I'm gonna rob them for $30,000. What about that family says that they got thousands and thousands of dollars for you to rob them in cash of? Unless this boy is just that level of stupid, which it's very possible. I'm gonna let y'all hear this stupid crap again. Unless they got some drug money or something. That's what I said. We have to know why. There has to be a why. They're already going to send him to death row. The least he could do is tell us why.
Person's background, things like that.
Court documents allege Davis was trying to rob the family. He was already behind bars for an unrelated family violence charge when police identified him as the suspect in this case. Davis's next court date has not been set.
We turn now to breaking news from Southwest Houston, where several people have been shot and killed, including a child.
Yeah, Steph, another little girl was also injured in this shooting, and just really a tragic situation. Michelle Troy there live with more on what we have learned so far this morning.
Stephen Xavier, there's no other way to put it. This is just a horrific and heartbreaking story. Even investigators telling us this has been a very difficult scene for them to process. Now, they say 3 people were killed in this shooting, including a man, a mom, her baby girl, who was just 5 to 7 years old, and her 10-year-old sister. She was also shot but survived, and she's actually the one who called for help. Now, this all happened inside one of these apartments here on Fondren. You can see this morning, this is still a very active scene. Police say they were called out here a little after 10:30 last night. When they arrived, they found those victims. Police say despite being shot, that 10-year-old managed to call her grandma, who then called police. She was then rushed to a hospital. Now, the shooter still out there. Police don't know who the suspect is or why the suspect attacked these people, but they say based on the fact that there was no sign of forced entry, they think the victims may have known their killer.
And again, that's why I say you would have to ask, why did he try to rob them? And then they also tried to say, I want y'all to notice this. They tried to say that he was at the wrong apartment. Well, how was he at the wrong apartment? I guess it is possible that he pulled up to the wrong apartment and tried to rob them because he thought they had something. And if he was at the wrong apartment, then he didn't get what he was looking for. It's just really weird. Nothing about this makes any sense at all.
This is a very, very tragic scene. We're sending out prayers to the family. This was a very difficult scene, not only for us, the officers, but for the family as well.
We don't yet know the relationship between the man who was shot and the woman and her daughters. Police tell us they did find some surveillance, which they're taking a look at right now.
Thank you. Let's go to a developing story from over.
They've already found them. Let's watch this last video, and I'll give y'all my closing thoughts.
Tonight, a man accused of killing a Houston family is now facing new charges this morning.
The man named Xavier Davis right here is accused of shooting and killing a father, mother, and their 6-year-old daughter last week. Their 10-year-old daughter survived by playing dead. Our Kathy Hernandez is live at the Harris County Jail. And Kathy, this guy now faces charges in 3 different crime scenes.
That's exactly right. Xavier Davis is here at the Harris County Jail. As you said it, he was charged with 3 counts of capital murder. Now,
capital murder. That's life in prison or the death penalty. Now, somebody in the chat actually brought up a great point. How was he identified if he had a mask on? Nothing about this makes any sense. They said he had a mask on. I don't know if they're talking about a COVID mask or if he had a full mask on his face. It still would have made it difficult to identify him. But let's move on.
That's exactly right. Xavier Davis is here at the Harris County Jail. As you said it, he was charged with 3 counts of capital murder. Now he's facing a charge of aggravated robbery.
This man is charged with 3 counts of capital murder and the shooting deaths of a couple and their 6-year-old daughter. Now Xavier Davis is facing a new charge of aggravated robbery. Detectives say an hour before the triple murder last Wednesday night, Davis carjacked someone for their Jeep Compass at an apartment complex on Larkwood and Fondren. That Jeep was seen leaving the family's apartment complex less than a mile away. They later found it engulfed in flames in Pearland. 28-year-old Davis was in court yesterday charged with 3 counts of capital murder. Initially set at $1 million, a judge revoked his bond. Police say Davis shot and killed Gregory Carhe, Donievia Lagway, and the couple's 6-year-old daughter, Harmony. He also shot their 10-year-old daughter in the arm. Relatives say she played dead after the shooting and called for help after the gunman left their apartment on Fondren.
I mean, it was so devastating. I mean, you know, it was like my life just, you know, just turned upside down.
And Davis is now being held here at the county jail without bond. No word right now, and if he'll face a judge this morning. Reporting live in downtown Houston, Kathy Hernandez, KPRC 2 News.
Kathy. So we're definitely going to have to do an update to this because nothing about this story makes any sense. First of all, like, it should be a red flag, especially for those of y'all who live in Houston, Texas. Most of y'all know that Houston is going through a crime wave. It's been having a large level of crime happening out there, especially in those these places where I guess you could say disenfranchised areas, right? There's already a lot of crime going on. A lot of carjackings, a lot of murders, a lot of gang activity, a lot of drugs. Somebody comes and knocks at your door in the middle of the night and you got your kids there. And he said he opened the door. The dude had a mask on. If you open the door as a man and as a father, I have to assume that this man knew the guy. Now, how did he know the guy? Unless the dude announced himself by name and he didn't look through the peephole and just opened the door. Then you'd have to ask yourself, why did he turn around and rob them? As a father and as a man, I just think at some point, instead of sitting down and taking it on your knees as a man, and I mean no disrespect to his family, and I know Texas might not understand where I'm coming from, Houston might not understand where I'm coming from, and the Carhee family might not understand where I'm coming from. As fathers, as men, we are the first line of defense for our family. We talk about we would take a bullet for our family. We would do anything for our family. This would have been the time that once you realize, oh, shoot, this is what's going on. It's time to snap into action, dive at that dude, fight that dude, because everybody's life is on the line at that point. Just flat out, period. And I feel so bad even saying that because sometimes fear can get the best of you. And I just feel like in a moment like this, you would have just had to say, throw all caution to the wind. My family, my baby, my children, all of their lives are on the line. I don't know if he thought maybe he could diffuse the situation, which is very possible. Maybe he thought he could reason with the dude. But after one gets shot, then the next gets shot. It's just, at that point, man, I'm just like, hey, I don't know. But all of that aside, we could look at that and say what we would have done. Nobody knows what they would have done in that situation until you're in that situation. Panic and fear can set in, and it could be a devastating thing. Especially when you're looking at Satan in the face. That is Satan. If Satan were a person, we could give him a face and Satan would look just like this. Tattoos on the neck, chest, eyeballs, and in the middle of the head. What he did, not only for his previous transgressions, his previous crimes. Now, while we're so lenient about people who are doing violent crimes, it's beyond me. To continue to let them get out of jail, continue to give them second chances, to be like, you know what, because we're scared of COVID, we need to let him out of jail, and we have prison overpopulation and blah, blah, blah. to continue to let the people out of jail who are perpetrating the worst crimes against our children, against our families, are people that shouldn't be given a second chance. Those are the ones that shouldn't be given a second chance. They're not quick to give people who have marijuana and weed charges a second chance. I can guarantee you there's some people out there doing 5, 10, 15, 20 years for weed still in jail in 2021. Just because they like to smoke it. Had a lot of it on them. People who probably should need rehab because they like to smoke meth or shoot up or pop pills. They need rehab. Those people in jail for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But the ones who rob, shoot in gangs, murder, steal, kill, destroy, these are the ones that keep getting these low bonds, continue to keep getting out of jail. These are the ones you say, you know what, you did 65% of your time. We're going to let you out on parole. Am I wrong for what I'm saying? What happened to this family should not have happened. I don't know why it happened. Was this random? Something tells me this was not random. Something tells me he did have the right apartment. There was a motive and a reason he targeted this family. I would love to have those answers so that we can't do nothing to save this family. This family is now broken. It's a broken family, and they're going to have to rely on the grandparents and other family members to take care of the rest of these children. But what we can do is use these stories to teach other people, to teach other people not to end up in these situations. What really happened so none of us fall into a trap like this? When we get those answers, I promise I will go back and I will give this story its justice and retell this story in the best way that I possibly can in order to do this family some justice, because I believe this should not have happened and they deserve their justice. That dude deserves life in prison. He doesn't deserve a bond, and he doesn't deserve a second chance. Okay? Thank y'all, Texas, Houston, for listening with an open mind and an open heart, because y'all know my heart is in the right place, but a lot of times these details are just really hard to figure out. Y'all keep those babies in your prayers. And RIP to the mother, RIP to her daughter, and RIP to the father, because they didn't deserve this. That dude deserves life in prison. DJ Just Jay, thank you for listening to this story. Thank you.